Hey, everybody. Welcome today to another one of my IT 299 internship interviews for the spring of 2026. Today, I'm here with Devin Mendez. How are you doing?
I'm doing well.
You've probably seen these before. You probably sat in the classroom hearing these. I'm going to talk to everybody about their trajectory into IT, what got them into it, where they're at now, advice they'd have. So the first question I always have for somebody is, when did the technology bug bite you? What form did it come in?
Probably gaming. To be honest, I was really young and I started getting into taking apart my PlayStation and stuff, and then like just cleaning it and stuff. And I thought that was always cool because I got to do it with my sister, and she was like kind of the one who kind of taught me everything, and she would learn it from like different people that she hung out with and stuff. And so it's always just like a nice like quality time like with my sister. It was like just cleaning stuff and like making sure everything worked, or she would like get me a new hard drive or something and she'd put it in for me and I'd be like, oh, that's so cool.
Very cool. So like at what age would that have been for you at that point?
Oh my gosh. I think first thing I started working was my PlayStation. I got in like 2013. So 13 years ago.
Okay. So I mean like, so at that point you're talking more like,
I think I would have been like 7.
Like, yeah, I was gonna say like maybe middle school. Maybe, well, actually no, 7. No, you've been like 2, you've been like in 2nd grade, that type of thing.
Yeah.
Because my question was going to be like, were you able to turn that love for that into anything in school, whether it was elementary school, middle school, high school?
Oh, no, not really. Because actually, coming into IT, I actually didn't want to do it as a career. I started because I moved up here from Virginia. And down in Virginia, where I grew up, there was at the career school, they had a drafting class, which was like CAD and like Autodesk, Revit. And like, I wanted to go into, sorry about that.
That's fine.
I wanted to go into architecture. And like, or like civil engineering. And there was a class here for that whenever I was like first applying.
Yeah.
And then the summer I was like working on my schedule, it got taken out. And the advisor that I was like talking to was like on what do you call it? Vacation, like over July. And he had like an automatic reply up. And then whenever I messaged him back in August, he was like, oh, I don't work there anymore. So like 7 days before like everything was due, I was like, I just threw a Hail Mary at IT because my brother-in-law works in IT, and I was like, he can help me out with everything. And I've actually loved it so far. So it was really cool.
Wow. That's, I've asked people many times how they came to be here.
Yeah.
And that is the most crazy confluence of events, man. That's pretty crazy. So
it was really stressful.
So you were looking at going into, like, I know what you're talking about. You were looking at going into our engineering program, and that went away. You reached out to one of our counselors. You said it was a guy. I'm pretty sure I know who that was. And he had left. And so like, you're like, where's my schedule? When's it going to get done? And so you're just like, oh crap. And then you just rolled the dice and made a gamble in IT.
Because I was like, my brother-in-law works from like home and stuff, and like he like lives with us, and like him and my sister, and like I was always just kind of like, I think it would be cool to have like a little like desk job. Like that's why I like CAD so much, is because I liked the designing stuff. And then and I still do with like models and stuff. But it's really cool to like see him do that. And then I was like, can you just like help me if I just go into IT and just do this? And he's like, oh, 100%. And then so I just started doing that. And it was really cool.
Very cool. So, so you were coming to Mount West, but then you had to quickly change and pivot. So, I mean, you talked about how kind of frenetic it was getting in. What was there a particular thing that made you say, I'm going to pick the administration option like over the other 2 options we had here? Or was it once again like, I need to pick one? Which do you think, counselor?
So originally I came into cybersecurity, and I was like very limited because I didn't get my driver's license until I was 19. And so kind of coming here was like kind of a special occasion. And once again, my sister helped me out because she would just drive me here. And then by that time I was like talking to a counselor, and they were like, well, for cybersecurity, there's certain classes you have to take here, but they told me it was like basically the same thing as network administration. So if you wanted to, all of that's like hybrid online.
Right.
We could just switch you over. I was like, right. Okay, just do that.
Gotcha. Well, I did used to get many a student when they heard, oh, I can be on Zoom at the house and still manage to do this. So yeah. Now with Zay and Dick here, we both do that. So like, everybody can pick an option, which, it's it's I've just changed the name of the curriculums actually. Both my option and Zan's option mentioned cybersecurity now. Because when I named that one, it was as if it was named in the only cybersecurity we had was in that. And I was like, that's not true. Like we do a lot of security, a lot of locking down that we have to do out there. So
Yeah.
I've fixed that. But I mean, I was happy to see you land in my class. I did not know about how that came about. So, it was a happy accident, as they used to say all the time when I did photography, and you get that one shot that was just a shot you wouldn't get normally. So you came here, you started in the administration option. It gave you some flexibility there, and you had the hope of being able to work from home. When here you are at the end of your 2 years here, you're finishing up. Is there advice you would have for people who are thinking about going down one of these network roads that we've got here? Anything based on your schooling here, the classes you took, things you wish you had done, things that you finally figured out at the end that you're like, I wish I would have known in the beginning, that type of thing?
Yeah, I think just playing around with stuff, honestly, like, there were things that like I learned in like the classroom that I understood like the premise of it, like how it worked, but like actually seeing it, like whenever I started at like Intiva, it was like seeing the environment, like actually getting around to like I need to know this and kind of adapting to that is like the more that you can play around with something and get familiar with the environment. That's why I love Test Out so much. Test Out has a really great like simulation of like whatever like lab they give you. And like you can go to different rooms, you can put a PC together. There's like you can troubleshoot hardware, software, anything that's broken. And I think paying attention to those a lot is like what really, really helped me, especially get prepared.
I would agree with you that, I mean, you can read so much about a thing, but until you're in the thick of it and you're actually doing it, I find for me, I can read conceptually about stuff and I may be able to retain it, but definitely if I'm able to do some hands-on stuff with it, it'll stick with me much, much longer. So yeah, I would agree. Any hands-on you can get, any form that takes, Test Out or otherwise, that you can get, virtual machines, that type of thing would be very, very useful. So you're here at the end of your time, and we haven't talked about the fact that you were an intern with Intiva. Before I get to that, had you had a job before you worked for Intiva?
Oh yeah, no, I grew up, like one of the reasons I wanted to get into like civil engineering and architecture is I grew up remodeling houses.
Oh, cool.
And like doing like construction and stuff. My dad's friends all are like super into construction, like businesses. And so actually one of them does like all the maintenance for like the Pepsi plants.
Oh,
so like the one in Nitro and Ona.
Right.
And so I got to like work around in like these like big like Pepsi commercial buildings, like doing electrical work and like framing and like just like repair and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then if I wanted to, I could go and like work on a farm and like work on like framing and like working on a barn and stuff. Or actually the house that we moved into whenever we moved up here was a house that we remodeled. And my dad was like, this is a really cool place. I think I'd like to move up here. And so we bought the house and then remodeled it. And the house beside us in Milton is also one that we remodeled.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And then I had a very short-term job at Walmart over the summer, like in between one semester. I think it was last year, the summer over. I worked at Walmart for like 2 or 3 months.
I gotcha. So, I asked that up front to be like, for anybody who hasn't had a job, is there any advice you would have in general for having a job? Or did your expectations, like I would imagine going out and being able to help, remodel a house, the structure of doing that job is probably a little bit more freeing than you clocking in at Walmart and you being at a register or being in a department. Like there's more rigidness to that. So, I mean, is there anything that surprised you about having a job? Anything you think people who haven't had jobs yet should know about? Any advice you'd have there along those lines?
Just know that there's a lot of people there that like are in a very similar situation of you. Is like whenever I was doing construction and stuff, it was like all older people. It was like, and no one like really like, I guess like they just kind of had expectations and they were like, yeah, no, just like you should know how to do this. And if you don't know how to do this, then figure it out very quickly. And whenever I kind of transitioned into like more like I guess organized like business, like
like a Walmart,
like Walmart or Intiva, like they were there, like everyone was there, was like, oh, let me teach you. Oh, I'll show you how to do that. It's fine. It'll just take like 2 seconds. And it was like everyone was a lot more translucent and not kind of knowing something.
Mm-hmm.
Is like in construction, there's not a lot of room for mistake. In like IT, there's not a lot of room for mistake, but like a lot of things are very reversible. Like if you mess something up,
Fair enough.
like if someone makes a user or something and like sets it up and like there's a missing group or something, and just go in and add that group or something. Like it's a very small portion of time that is kind of missed, but it's very like fixable.
Right. I would say too, in the idea of construction to some degree too, even though you're there with a team, to some degree, it's probably somewhat every man for himself or herself, in as much as it's like, if I stop and teach you how to do this, I'm going to get yelled at because I haven't finished my job. But at a Walmart, at an organization, I remember when I worked at Walmart, I had to sit through like 3 or 4 days of all those CBLs, the computer-based learning videos and stuff. So like they wanted you to get up to speed on it. They wanted to help you, which probably kind of leads into my next question. So working at Intiva, working in IT, did you find there was things that were different along those lines? I'm willing to imagine what you talked about, the people wanting to help you. You probably get that a lot at Intiva. People are wanting to help you because if you know more stuff, then you can do more for the company. But short of like, let's say the Walmart transition to the Intiva transition, were there things that surprised you about going from a non-IT to IT job? Or what were you just like, yeah, that's kind of what I figured?
I think kind of surprised by like, because like I liked the hands-on stuff, like doing like the labs and test out and stuff. But like whenever it transitioned over, I was very surprised at like how much I guess like was able to be picked up. I guess like IT is like you see it, you do it, and you kind of know it from that point on. At least it was for me. And it was just a very like learn this, and then just like keep like moving on and moving on. With like other jobs, it's like very similar. Like you know something, and they kind of just have you like keep doing like the same tasks over and over and over.
Right.
With Intiva and like IT in general, is there's so many things that can go wrong in a situation, and like things that can break. That like it's almost never. I won't say that. It is more common for an issue to not be repeatable, but still have the same thing that's broken. It's like, oh yeah, no, my Outlook doesn't work. And it's like, okay, there's like 5 things that could come to mind. I got to check like event viewer. Let me go check, let me go clear out temp files. Let me go ahead and clear out the cache. And it's like, there's like 6 different solutions to a possible maybe 20 problems that happened. While like in construction, it's like, oh yeah, no, that thing's dry rotted. Let's frame that up real quick, replace that, and then just move on.
Right. And I also feel like, I mean, maybe I'm like oversimplifying, but to some degree, I feel like in construction, if they walk in and there's water damage on sheetrock, like, let's just pull it down and do it. Like they're not like, let's make a fix. They're like, let's just demo it and it'll take less time. And in IT, you can't always destroy it all.
Yeah.
You got to like figure out what's wrong. But something else you mentioned there that I thought about is it's very important. When I used to teach programming originally when I came here after graduating, and the thing I told people was, if I can teach you a programming language, it's much like teaching you English. If I teach you English, you know what a noun, a verb, an adjective is. So when you go to learn French or Spanish, something like that, you already know what a noun and a verb is. You just need to learn how they spell it, like how it's said, that type of thing.
Yeah.
And I would say that with programming languages, I was like, a variable is a variable no matter what you're in.
Yeah.
The fact that you know what it is helps you out. And we only have you all for 2 years here. And so I think about kind of what you were saying in the fact of like, if I teach you how to put people into a group in Active Directory, that same information could be used for how you put people into a group in Exchange, because putting them into a group still crowds them together.
Yeah.
I'm not having to show you the 50 different ways against 50 different technologies on how to do that. If I show you the one way, hopefully you can take that and go. Like, to use the construction analogy, if I teach you how a screwdriver works, it doesn't matter whether it's a Phillips, a Robertson, a flathead, like you figured it out, you can adapt. So in IT, if you can start to catch that, that's super important to go ahead and adapt along those lines. So, you were talking about doing your work there, and you talked about working at Walmart too. I would wonder. We're always asking people about this because it's one of the things that they want us to instill in our classes, and I think it's inherent. This thing of cultural intelligence. Somebody calls you. Somebody says, "Mendez, I got a problem. I need your help." They are not an IT person. You are an IT person. Walk me through how you guide them through as a non-techie, how to fix their problem over the phone. Like, how do you communicate with them when you are a technological person and they're of a Luddite culture, that type of thing?
Right.
How do you speak on their language?
Well, very luckily, Intiva lets us screen connect, so we can like remote into like almost all the computers, and then kind of just do it ourselves. Very rarely do we have to like really do that. The only time that like I can really think of is like on phones, but even like phones we can screen connect into sometimes, which is really helpful. But like if I ever have to like explain something over to someone, I really like to just have a document up of like kind of like step by step what they should be doing, and kind of just like reiterating it that, because like I have a really bad problem of like visualizing like exactly like where they should be at, and like having them describe to me like, okay, so what are you seeing right now? It says sign in. Okay, so you should see a username thing, and you should see a password. I don't see a password thing. Username thing. Okay, just put your email in there. That doesn't work. Okay, try the first part of your email without the at something. And they're like, okay, that worked. It was like, okay, so what do you see now? They're like, password. I'm like, okay, try your password now.
Yeah, you were doing the same thing I do, because I'm like, okay, right click on your start button and I can see the whole menu pop up. I'm like, okay, go up to settings. Like I'm doing it in my head as I'm walking them through it. And I know what you mean. Like, are you seeing this? Are you seeing what I see in my head, type of thing?
Yeah, and it's also like where like not every company uses the same applications. So it's like half the time I don't even know what they should be seeing. I'm just kind of like going off of what I think there should be there. Like there should be a username, there should be a password. If something fails there, okay, let's find out where that password is being synced from. Mm-hmm. Is it managed from the application? Is it syncing to AD or somewhere else?
Yeah, well, I mean, you were talking about doing CAD before. Like, if someone needed to go and clean out their scratch disk, I'd be like, is there a place called preferences or settings or advanced? Let's go try to find it. Because if I don't know the application off the top of my head, I'm trying to think of places they would put that. So I'm with you.
Yeah,
that's a really good skill to have. So your internship, came and gone. Is there any advice you would have for somebody before they would say step foot into Intiva to go ahead and start working? The same way you might have had advice for someone doing their schooling here. Is there advice based on your experience working IT that somebody should know about? Something that will give them a leg up, that type of thing, when they step into an environment where they're going to be doing a help desk style job?
Just know your fundamentals, because like one thing that like I think if you can get your foot in the door, like if you can get through the interview and get like there at the desk, like you can get trained in everything IT. Like even if like you barely understand it in the class, like if people can show you how to do it, then you can figure out how to do it, I think, fairly simply. But you just have to get through that interview portion. And I know during my interview with Jacob, bro, oh my gosh, I think he asked me like 3 questions and I got all of them wrong. I think he asked me what like an external IP was, and I was like, I don't know. And he's like, it's just an IP that's not like there. It's not like an IP like in your network. It's like outside. I'm like, okay, yeah, thank you. And I stressed so much during like I forgot everything. Like, and whenever he started asking me like actual like IT questions, and I was like, oh my gosh, I should have known each of those. But like, I think if you just know your fundamentals, if you can get through the interview, then anyone can teach you IT.
I agree. I will also say, heads up, that I think we are lucky. We're lucky we have such great companies like Intiva and Digit3 and Valley Health. I have definitely heard of horror stories of people in IT, people who absolutely hate to go to their jobs. But that's not the people. I mean, we don't want to work with people like that. Here, Jacob wants to help you succeed. Jacob wants you to learn and grow. Your other teammates, that you work with in there, want to help you grow. So everybody out there know that when you're doing your internship, they're cheering you on, because if you do well, then they do well. Like, they understand it's a cooperative team effort. So yeah. So I'm just throwing out there, I know you could move on one day and go to a company and be like, I am absolutely miserable. The amount of extra pay I'm getting here is not worth it. I want to go back to the other place. But we are so lucky to work with the companies that we work with as partners here. So that's good. Now I also know, or I've been told, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, that you at this point are no longer doing your internship. You are now a full-time employee of Intiva. So my question to you would be, what changed from the last day you were an intern to you being a full-time employee? Like, what if someone's like, well, I'm going to do the part-time thing at Intiva. I'm going to come here 20 hours a week and do my internship, and I may want a job there, but I'm curious what that even looks like. So can you kind of give us a day-to-day on what you do now as a full-time employee?
So it's kind of hard to answer that question because Intiva, whenever you first start the internship, they give you like a 3-month trial basis. But whenever you also start full time, they give you another 3-month trial basis. So not a lot has changed from my time at the internship, except because like in the internship, they have you still like answering phones. They give you tickets. They have you work things that they think that you can handle. And kind of the same thing during that first 3 months is kind of just they give you email tickets. They expect you to be in the queue whenever someone's calling. And your main job, like in those first 3 months, I feel like is kind of just to keep the workflow going and to like learn as much as you can and just kind of adapt to like whenever those 3 months are done, you can be ready to kind of not necessarily be as good as the other, like everyone else there, but like you can definitely be like an operable person there where you can be given an issue, figure out how to solve it, and then create a resolution. And yes, like right now, like I think today, I think I got assigned like some email tickets, and then I answered some calls, and it's been like pretty simple. Like I definitely more than the internship, because like in the internship I would get like maybe 2 email tickets, answer like maybe 3 calls, and then like kind of just like help with like they have you help with like the customer coordinators, like getting like people transferred over so that way you can get familiar with like the phone queue. But like outside of that, it's been pretty simple stuff. Like there is a lot more like admin work though, like in Microsoft or like Office 365, where they have you start like configuring routing and what's that called? It's like Power Automate or something. It's titled something weird. I've only messed with it one time.
Power BI.
I think so. Yeah, and there's like this whole graphing system or something where you can like edit where like things are going and stuff. I played with it like for like 30 minutes.
I mean, I know a Power BI is a Power Business Intelligence is a thing that Microsoft does have. Maybe that.
Yeah, I think.
But then
so.
there's also like Auto Manage and Azure Automate. So
yeah,
there's a multitude of things.
Yeah,
I guess what I was wondering is obviously now you're not working 20 hours a week. You're working 40 hours a week.
Yeah.
You're not necessarily in the office anymore. You're now working from home.
Mm-hmm. So
you got the headset and stuff and go to work. And you're still kind of in the same realm. I know that Intiva is so large. I don't know if the proper word for it is campaigns or not, that you all have like your groups, your teams, your pods, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, you're probably not, but there could be a potential that you work for a pod that's covering California businesses. So then suddenly you would go to work probably at 11 a.m. here because at 8 a.m. they're waking up there. Like that's a possibility.
Well,
type of thing.
So no, because they have it set up via markets.
Okay.
So like specifically we go into the DC market, which is like new. I don't think they're connected, but they are kind of like work together sometimes, which is like New York, like DC, Virginia, West Virginia, not Ohio.
But that keeps you in your time zone.
Yeah, it keeps you like I wouldn't go anywhere like that wasn't EST unless I like moved or something. Like after I get done here, I talked to my team leader about it, and he like I want to move back down to Virginia for a little bit to spend some time with some friends and stuff since I've been so busy with school and work. And he was like, "Yeah, I mean, our office is down there. I mean, just let us know if you need some time like to get moved over and stuff, or if you want to do it over the weekend. Just like keep us updated on whatever you're doing. I don't see a problem with it." But like if I wanted to go down to like we have stuff in Florida, I'd have to reapply for a position down in Florida and then have to move over.
Because that's kind of a different region.
Yeah, it's like part of a different market.
Gotcha. And I think you were alluding to this, but being an intern, they intentionally don't want to put you in the deep end of the pool. So you will get maybe some tickets a day and some things, but now since you are full time, the expectation is more can be expected of you. So you may be getting more tickets, you may be doing more phone calls at this point, but still, as you said, solving a lot of the same problems. Correct?
Yeah,
Gotcha.
it's a lot of the like almost exact same things. Rarely do we see like anything, and like if I know that like something comes across me that like on like a phone call is like that's punching way of like above what I know how to do, then they're just like, okay, what you do is you just create the ticket, you triage it, and then you just basically send it up to the TL or the dispatcher, and you just leave like a note. It's kind of just like elevating it to a tier 2 or something, and it's just like just so that way you're not like spending however long just trying to figure out like what that even does or how that works.
Sure.
And then you can follow the ticket and then you just review it after they're done. And
I think one of our first students through the program, Michael King, he'd gotten on full time, and I think at least at that time they had a structure where he then moved. He did actually move on to a tier 2 to where like
he's
he
tier
was
2 right now.
He was like a higher person. So I didn't know if that was still a thing, because I think at the time he was like, they'll give me 30 minutes, and if I can't do it, I need to elevate it, because I'm sitting here getting paid to work on a problem that maybe a tier 2 or tier 3 could fix in a couple seconds. Maybe they already know, type of thing. So I get it.
Yeah, and for like Intiva procedures, like they now like some people don't like it. It's like an okay system, but like they don't like necessarily like they've moved away from like first call resolution per se, and they're like take only quick fix things. Like if you like things that you can do between 15 to 30 minutes, everything else, create the ticket, and then once it's on the board, then we'll get it dispatched to someone that we know that can work on it.
Send it to an expert, basically.
Yeah, someone who's like who we know that can do that.
Right. And that makes sense.
And I have a big problem with that sometimes, where I'm just like, okay, yeah, no, okay, so that's the issue. I don't know how to do that, but I'll figure it out probably.
Yeah.
Especially if it's like an Outlook issue, because like half the time it's like, or like Outlook, Teams, any application that's like fairly simple to troubleshoot, I'll typically like just go through my troubleshooting, and then I'll find what's kind of the root cause, and then I'll spend like probably like 10 minutes trying to figure out why that's causing the issue, and then I'll hit that like 30-minute mark, and I'm like, do I want to elevate this or do I want to just keep working on it?
I'm so close.
Yeah, I know it's just one thing that I know if I send it up, it'll get figured out. But the problem is there is that gap between like me sending it up, it getting assigned, them working on it because they're busy, and it's like, all right, I guess I'll I have to.
Yeah. Well, and I could see it being a bummer too, where you're like, that's a ticket and I'd like to work it. I don't know how to fix it. But if I don't ever get assigned those tickets and explore that area, how am I going to broaden my horizons?
Yeah.
If it's like you fix the things well, then how will I ever learn more?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I can see that weird double-edged sword that you've got there.
Yeah.
So, here we are at the end. Is there anything before I open this up to questions that I haven't asked you about? You think people should know, advice you'd want to give them going into this program, going into this this field, that type of thing?
Yeah, I would say if you're like coming like into Mount West, or like if you're like thinking of like any kind of changes or anything, just kind of like be as communicative with the staff here as possible. Is like you don't want to have a situation where you're five days before everything's due and you need to be like, okay, yeah, no, that's the major I want to be in. These are the classes I want to take. Just make sure like you have everything set up and like you kind of know the path that you want to take to some degree.
Yeah, well, I mean, fair enough.
Or have a backup plan.
Yeah, well, I mean, it worked out for you.
Yeah,
well, it serendipitously worked out for you, but yeah, that may not be the best plan for everybody. A Hail Mary is not always successful. So
have you watched the new movie, the Project Hail Mary movie?
No, but
it's a good movie.
I read The Martian years ago.
That's a really good
before
movie
they made
well.
the movie, and I was like, oh, I love this guy's writing, and so I'm very excited. But I've not had a chance to get out. Like, if the kids, I'm going to go take the kids to see Mario Galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
That's something I can take my 5 and 7-year-old and 16-year-old to. Me being able to get out of the house to go see that for myself is a bit of a harder
take the kids
ask.
to go watch it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I got a couple that want to be scientists, but like maybe a little over their heads right now. Maybe. So I may have to wait till digital. So I do want to throw this out here to questions with you all out there in the classroom, out on Zoom. Does anybody have any class today here from Mendez about his time here at MCTC or his time at Intiva? Charlotte said, congratulations on your position.
Oh, thank you.
It was asked previously about, is there an area in some other interviews, is there an area that you find you are liking to fixate on? Is there an area you want to specialize on? I think the question this time was actually for somebody who's working at Digit 3, because they were talking about, they loved installing, TVs, lights, stuff like that. I know it's going to be really hard to do that when you're on a headset at Intiva. But have you found certain tickets that like grab you where you're like, oh, if they have the ability for me to go into like the Azure team, I want to go down that path, or the virtualization team. If I can specialize, is there anything you're wanting to specialize in, or anything that really strikes your fancy?
I do really love just Office 365 working in it. Like, I don't know why, but like, it's just so user friendly and like just so easy to kind of like troubleshoot and work in. And like creating like routing rules for like mail and stuff is really cool. And so I've been kind of looking toward like getting like the Azure certifications, like the Azure 104, the can't remember the other ones, to be honest.
Well, right now, I mean, this semester we're doing AZ 104, which is Azure Administrator. We just finished AZ 500, which was Azure Security Technologies.
Yep.
So,
and then Azure 700. What?
There is an AZ 700. I don't teach it. I don't know what it is off the top of my head. I was a little bummed to find out the other day that they're actually expiring some of the certifications.
Oh, really?
Our AZ 800 and 801 that we did last semester, in spring, or in fall, they are expiring those. They won't be offering them anymore. And then they're going to make an 802. And so there'll be a single test to cover both of those. So I'm like, oh boy, what's that going to look like? The AZ 900, which was the Azure fundamentals we did last semester, that's still going to be around. But yeah, the 801 and 802 is changing, and there was a couple other ones, like their AI one. I think they're tweaking slightly. Several of them. I don't think 104 is changing, but several of the Azure ones, they're going to start to build in AI along with them. So that's why they're making wholly new exams. And I think the 802 is that, because it's still going to be administration with some AI pieces in there.
Yeah.
So
that is the kind of route I think I'm wanting to go right now, is the Azure AZ, my Microsoft certifications.
I mean, that would be good. It would allow you to show your proficiency with those and be able to speak to that out there. So, well, not seeing any more questions here, sir. I want to thank you so much for coming in and talking to me and talking to us out there online and the classroom about your time here, your time at Intiva. Congratulations on all your success, and thank you so much.
Thank you.